Three trucks, three different companies, three completely different approaches to building a half-ton pickup. And after 24 years of pulling wrenches, customers ask me the same question almost every week. Which one actually lasts? Not which one looks the best on the lot, not which one has the nicest infotainment screen, but which one is still running strong when the odometer rolls past 300,000 miles. I have serviced all three of these trucks for over 2 decades, and today I am going to give you the honest answer based on what actually comes through my shop bay, not what the commercials tell you. No brand loyalty here, just what I have seen with my own hands under the hood. Let us get into it. I want to start with the Silverado because it is the truck I probably see the most of in my daily work. A regular customer of mine, a landscaper named Ray, bought a 2011 Silverado 1500 with the 5.3-liter V8 back when it had 60,000 miles on the odometer. He uses that truck every single day, hauling mulch, pulling a trailer full of equipment, running it in Georgia heat and winter slush alike. He is at 289,000 miles right now and still driving it daily. The 5.3-liter Vortec and later the Ecotec 3 version of that same engine is genuinely one of the most proven V8 platforms General Motors has ever built. It shares its architecture with the small block Chevy lineage that goes back decades, and that lineage matters because General Motors has had a long time to work the bugs out of it. The block is strong, the bottom end holds up under abuse, and when maintained properly, these engines routinely see 250,000 to 300,000 miles on original internals. But here is where I have to be honest with you, because I told this channel from the start that I am not going to sell you a fairy tale. The 5.3-liter with active fuel management, the system that shuts down 4 cylinders to save fuel at highway speed, has a documented weakness in the lifters. When oil changes get stretched or the wrong filter gets used, those lifters can collapse, and once that happens, you're looking at a top-end repair that can run anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, depending on how far the damage spreads. I have pulled valve covers on Silverados with ticking noises more times than I can count, and 9 times out of 10 it traces back to a customer who pushed oil changes past 7,500 miles or used a cheap off-brand filter with the wrong bypass valve pressure. If you stay disciplined on maintenance and use the correct oil filter spec, the 5.3 will get you to 300,000 miles without drama. If you neglect it, you will be lucky to see 150,000. The transmission side is solid too. The 6L 86-speed automatic behind these engines is a well-proven unit as long as the fluid gets changed around every 60,000 to 80,000 miles instead of being treated as lifetime fluid, which it is not, no matter what the sticker on the dipstick tells you. Now let us talk about the F-150 because this is where things get complicated depending entirely on which engine you end up with. I had a customer named Denise bring in a 2006 F-150 with the 5.4-liter Triton 5.8 a few years back, and within the first 10 minutes of listening to it idle, I already knew what was coming. That engine is infamous in my shop for ejecting spark plugs directly out of the cylinder head. Ford used a 2-piece spark plug design with shallow thread engagement, and combined with aluminum heads that were not built with enough thread depth, the plugs can literally work themselves loose and blow out under compression. I have pulled broken spark plug threads out of 5.4 Triton heads more times this year alone than I want to admit, and the repair means installing thread inserts or, in bad cases, replacing the head entirely. That is a job costing $600 to $1,200 done right, and a lot of shops try to shortcut it with a cheap insert kit that fails again within a year. If you want the version of the F-150 that actually earns a spot on this list, you want the 5.0-liter Coyote V8 that Ford introduced in 2011 and has continued refining ever since. I covered this engine in detail in an earlier video because I ran a customer's Coyote-powered F-150 past the 200,000-mile mark using nothing but disciplined oil changes, and the bearings and cam phasers were still within spec on inspection. The Coyote uses a proper 4-valve per cylinder design with dual overhead cams, port and direct injection working together to reduce carbon buildup, and a forged internal design in later model years that can handle real abuse. Paired with the ZF Source 10-speed automatic, which had some early teething issues in 2017 and 2018 with harsh shifting, but which Ford sorted out through software updates by 2019, the 5.0 F-150 is a genuinely strong long-term truck. The EcoBoost twin-turbo option, meanwhile, is a mixed bag. The early 2011 to 2014 3.5-liter EcoBoost had a water pump mounted inside the engine block, which means a failed pump is not a $150 part swap. It is an engine out repair running $2,000 or more. Ford moved the pump external in later revisions, which fixed the worst of that issue, but turbo engines in general carry more complexity and more failure points than a naturally aspirated V8 over a 300,000-mile lifespan. If a genuine 300,000-mile F-150 is your goal, the 5.0 Coyote is the engine you want under the hood, not the EcoBoost, and definitely not the old 5.4. If this kind of straight talk about what actually breaks on these trucks is useful to you, hit that subscribe button, because I put out videos like this every single week comparing the real-world durability of the trucks people are actually driving, not the marketing versions. Now for the Tundra, and I will tell you up front that this is the truck that wins this comparison in my shop, and it is not particularly close. I have a customer, a contractor named Miguel, running a 2005 Tundra with a 4.7-liter V8 that just crossed 320,000 miles. Original engine, original transmission, and the only major work done to it was a water pump and an alternator over the life of the truck. Toyota built the first and second generation Tundra with a philosophy that prioritized long-term durability over chasing horsepower numbers or fuel economy figures, and it shows in how these trucks age. The 4.7-liter iForce V8 and its successor, the 5.7-liter iForce introduced in 2007, are both known throughout the independent shop world for reaching extremely high mileage with nothing more than routine maintenance. Timing chains instead of belts, conservative tuning that does not push the engine near its limits under normal driving, and a transmission, the Aisin-sourced automatic, that is built with a level of over-engineering you rarely see in domestic trucks of the same era. I do have to flag one real issue because I promised you honesty and not a sales pitch. The 2000 through 2003 Tundras, and to a lesser extent trucks through 2006, had a documented frame rust problem severe enough that Toyota ended up running a frame inspection and replacement program, and there was a well-known class action settlement over it. If you are shopping for an early Tundra specifically for that 300,000-mile potential, get underneath it and inspect the frame rails, particularly around the rear leaf spring mounts, before you fall in love with the low miles or the clean interior. A rusted frame does not care how good the engine is. Toyota extended warranty coverage and replaced a huge number of frames under that program, so plenty of these trucks are running around today with brand new frames under an old body, which is honestly the best of both worlds if you can verify the work was done. Past that generation from 2007 onward with the 5.7-liter, the frame issues largely disappeared, and what you are left with is an engine and transmission combination that shop guys like me consider close to bulletproof under normal use. So here is my honest answer after comparing all three side by side across decades of shop work. If longevity alone is your only priority and you are willing to pay a premium for it on the used market, the Tundra wins, hands down, especially the 5.7-liter generation. If you want something that costs less up front and can still get you to 300,000 miles, The Silverado with the 5.3-liter will do it, but only if you are religious about oil changes and use the correct filter. And if you are set on an F-150, skip the 5.4 Triton entirely, be cautious with the early EcoBoost, and go find yourself a 5.0 Coyote, because that is the version of this truck that actually earns the reputation Ford wants you to believe every F-150 has. None of these trucks are bad, but only one of them was engineered from the ground up with 300,000 miles as the actual design target instead of a happy accident. If you want to see exactly which half-ton engines I steer my own customers toward and which ones I tell them to avoid before they even sign the paperwork, I put together a full breakdown in another video, and it is linked right here. 2.5 decades of shop invoices do not lie, and neither will I. Like this video if it helped you make sense of the noise out there. Subscribe for more of these straight comparisons, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of your truck, and it will take care of you.